And welcome to Let Them Talk. I'm Paul DiRienzo. Got a great show in store for you. We're going to talk about dance. And we have Patricia Noworol and Troy Ogilvie of Replacement Place. That's the world premiere that's coming up,
yes.
Right? And it says here, I just noticed this, the New York Times said of you, Patricia Noworol is fond of physical and emotional extremes. So we're going to find out more what that means exactly in the upcoming show. So tell us a little bit about the program. We're going to watch some clips in a few minutes, so stay tuned for the clips. We have 3 clips lined up. Tell us a little bit about Replacement Place, world premiere. What's that all about?
Sure, of course. First of all, thank you so much for having us on the show.
No problem. Yeah. It's our pleasure.
A Replacement Place premiered in New York Live Arts, which is a venue in Chelsea, theater in Chelsea, on April 30th, by the end of this month, and runs through May 2nd. And performances are, shows are at 7:30, and on May 2nd we have 2 performances. That's a Saturday 7:30 show and 2 p.m. show.
And we'll give you all the information you need. Just so hang in there, right? Okay, good.
Yes.
And so tell us tell us. Here's a photograph at the beginning. I like the. I can hold this up and maybe you can zero in on it a little bit. What does it say here? I'm just reading from what it says here. Featured dancers, Nick Bruder, Troy Ogilvie is here, AJ the Animal Jones. That's interesting.
Yes.
And I need time a dancer's name, the Animal. Must be interesting. Composer and performer, Chris Lancaster. Costume set designer, Vita Sikon.
Yes.
I got it. Lighting designer, Greg Goff. Now tell us a little bit about what we're going to see. So this is going to be basically...
There are 4 performers on stage. Which one performer is a cellist, Chris Lancaster, who is playing the cello, but he also writes text for the for Replacement Place, and I involve him also movement-wise here and there. Troy and Nick. Should I talk about them, or maybe just briefly? I think briefly might be good.
Well, just describe it a little bit about. What's the purpose? What is the goal of this performance? If there is one, is that the right word for it? What's the focus of it, or what's the message?
I think we when I first met Patricia, which was in the fall, we started actually talking about demons and this idea that we don't really talk about demons now, but that doesn't mean that they aren't here in different terms. You know, we talk about addiction, we talk about depression, we talk about
personal
cancer,
demons.
but all sorts of afflictions, things that affect us physically, mentally. But we kind of talk about them in other terms now, maybe more scientific, or we have more information. I mean, it makes sense. But I think that we were talking about this, that it also makes it available to treat things medically, like through pills. And there used to be maybe more, maybe if you looked at it more as a demon, there's more of a ritual way to cleanse yourself of it. It's so specific talking about it, but in the piece it's even more specific, but more general too in a way.
So what are the type of demons that you address in this play?
I think we're more looking at addiction specifically in this one.
Drug addiction.
Drug addiction, or addiction to social media, addiction to, there's all sorts of addictions.
Basically all these demonic energies of figures that nowadays people deal with, and how we also cleanse from it. So nowadays everything is done very fast, because in a history when you kind of research the demonic figures, they were those energies like, how do you call spirits, unfamiliar spirits that people had. And also in the dance history, they've been dances like, let's say, dervish dance in Turkey, when men were, turning rituals to cleansing, to tarantella. So how people were dealing with this cleansing emotion, and how nowadays we call, that's something depressive, we take a pill to it. So, and also we really don't cleanse in a way, because we are bombarded with, maybe we don't take the time to cleanse, I believe, right? It's everything is done very fast in a society. Also with replacement, we replace TV, new phones, we replace emotions with pills, we replace, places. Sometimes can be replacement very positive as well, like refreshing. But I think in emotions, we sometimes don't want to deal with certain emotions or situation in life. And somehow our brains also work certain ways, so we're satisfied with it. And I think this piece also deals personal with our thoughts, how overwhelming this can be. We have one thought and the other thought. And our reality, kind of like a movie. We are in the movies in inside world, how we deal with the outside world. And it has to do a lot with feelings, with our past, etc., etc.
Were you thinking about this idea for a long time? I mean,
yes and no. I knew Chris and Nick Bruder danced for me in the past, and I saw Troy performing a few years ago in a small theater. She had a solo show, fantastic solo show, and at this time I said, one day I want to work with her. And I think this was 2011. So I just approached her actually this summer. I wrote to her. But knowing Nick and Chris as a persona and how they are and performers, just because I didn't really know what the piece will be about, there was something demonic about both of them. Genius, but also demonic.
Okay.
Yes. And that's why I started researching demons and thinking about that.
I see. So tell me, in a minute or two, we're going to play a clip and see what. But tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, how long have you been in theater? And where did you? Tell me about your accent. Where are you from?
I was born in Poland, but I grew up in Germany, so I have both nationalities. I started ballet gymnastics in a young age, and I visited attended dance academies, very classical dance academies in Germany. And in one point I saw on a video Pina Bausch performance, and I remember that's a dance theater performance that I was 15, 16 that I started thinking, no, actually about 17. This is it, like this is the drive I want to go to. So I kind of stepped away. Well, ballet training, obviously, we do our entire life, but that was, I think, a moment when I switched to modern dance, to dance theater, and since then I've been in it. Yeah.
Okay, great. And Troy, tell me a little bit about your background. Where did you? How did you decide to be a dancer at a young age, as pretty much everybody does, I guess? You know?
Yes, I actually.
Where are you from originally?
I'm from New Jersey.
Okay, so you're local.
Yes, I am. I started dancing because my babysitter quit, and my parents had to do something with me on Wednesday nights. And so I went and started taking dance class, and I was doing soccer. I was playing soccer at the time also, and then at some point I decided to hang up my cleats and dance. And I went to Princeton Ballet School, and then I was at Juilliard and stayed in New York ever since.
Great.
And she's fantastic on stage.
Well, let's see a clip. We have a clip lined up, and let's see one of the clips and check out what we're talking about and give people an opportunity to see it. So we'll go right to that now. All right, great. So I'm glad some of the information there was for, but let's repeat it, give people a chance to write it down. So how can folks find out about the show? When is it happening, and how can they get more information?
Correct. Information is listed on our website, pndance.com. There is a link also to the New York Live Arts website. It's pretty easy to get tickets. What is the other question?
And the dates. It's going to be happening. It's going to be coming up on April 30th through
April 30th through May 2nd.
Right. Okay. Great. And pndance.com is a good place to get information.
Exactly.
Right? I think you need to know. All right. Great. And so we're talking with the director, the concept direction, a choreographer, Patricia Noworol.
Yes.
I got it. Okay. And Troy Ogilvie, right, who is one of the dancers. You saw her there a moment ago. And so we were talking before we took the break to look at the video about how you came to be dancers, and this is, you call it modern dance as opposed to ballet.
Correct.
What's the difference for folks who might not know? It's obvious. If you're doing it in your own life, it's obvious, but to the rest of us, we want to know.
We do, actually, our company, we do modern dance, physical theater, contemporary dance. Well, basically, ballet was developed. In ballet, you have a story, and there is a certain language to dance. The core is straight, and in contemporary dance, I'm saying, you know, I've been in this for life, but now maybe I have to grab a thought. We involve a lot of core. It's a different. It's an expression through body. So certain rules can be broken. Troy, please help me out.
Yeah. Well, I think in ballet, there's also a set vocabulary.
Yes.
And so you could almost you could dictate a ballet in a lot of ways. You could like name steps, and someone could string them together. There are some modern techniques that operate in a similar way, like Graham technique or Limon. Yeah. But I think what we're working with is we work a lot improvisationally also.
So each performance could be different.
I don't know. That's yet to be seen. I mean, I think the material is created through improvisation, but that doesn't mean it's not set by the end. But it also means that there's a lot more room for different kinds of movement to come out. So maybe these emotional extremes that you talked about earlier, there's room for that. That's physicality.
I see. Well, tell us, what do they mean when the New York Times said Patricia Noworol is fond of physical and emotional extremes? What do they mean by that? I mean, it was pretty physical.
What do they mean by that?
This is a question towards me.
Yeah. In your opinion?
I think I'm striking, or I'm interested about extremes and people, and also physically. So it's not something presented, but like in a replacement place, I get the performer go into, let's say, exhaustion. And I know that out of it, there is still a lot of power to perform. So very often we see limits also in life when we do things. And I think when we overstretch the limit, there is still so much more. So, and I think I'm looking for something that I can trust and believe that the performance is giving me. So sometimes, you know, and it's, and very often also when you go to extremes, in other words, we just have a run through on Saturday, and AJ was exhausted, and I said, AJ, oh, you're going to your limits. He's like, I'm starting knowing my limits and my boundaries, because there also it develops certain, you're kind of in a limbo state, and it develops new energy to move forward. I don't know. I have a feeling also was in my past in performances that you are in a certain stadium, you think that's it, but like overstretching this feeling of exhaustions, and I think it's also something shutting your brain down, and in physicality, just doing things. It's like a runner that has to run to get to the point. Yeah.
All right, very interesting. And do you think the same as well, Troy?
I do. I think also I personally am also I do a lot of self-analysis, and I do a lot of sort of intellectualizing. So for me, it's kind of a relief to get into animal brain too. Sure. And I think some of the ways to do that is through exhaustion or through tasks, or you know, just really trusting that animal brain has is actually is really smart also, and sometimes can do things faster than when you like think about it.
And I also think in life, you know, we sometimes say, oh, that's too much, we cannot do it, and we shut down. We cannot go out because it's raining. Just go out and do it. I don't know. It starts with the small things of maybe laziness. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier, we were talking about how the idea behind this performance, Replace in Place, is addiction. which is fascinating to me. We've done many programs about addiction, and is that particularly about drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And so there's a lot of people in the recovering community.
Yes.
And those who are not in the recovery community, who are outside, watching us right now. What does this have to say to them? And does this say anything in particular to people in recovery or in, thinking about that?
I don't know if I understood this question. Addiction. I think we tap into addictions because maybe we get too much things from society that sometimes our soul, you cannot, you stopped connecting with things, and then that has to do with replacement, kind of substitute the feeling and substitute, yeah,
I see.
That's
substitute the addiction for the feeling.
Perhaps, yes. I don't think I understood the question.
I mean, I definitely don't think that we are presenting a solution.
Exactly.
But I do think there's something that is like a contemporary search for ritual. I think that a lot of us are looking for kind of excuses to heal. And what a ritual can do, these kind of like whirling dervishes or this tarantella, it provides an experience that you can go through and then come out changed. And maybe it's just an excuse, maybe it's an actual exorcism, I don't know.
Right.
But I think that's what we're looking at.
Well, I think you're onto something, because many of the more advanced approaches to addiction that we've had on the program talk about exactly a lot of these same things.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. And using, well, we won't go into all of that, but it's very interesting. So in that way, we're crossing over to another type of show that I like to do, that we do on this program. So it's very interesting that you're doing that and taking something like this, modern dance, and using that as another treatment modality that's different from the traditional treatment modalities that everybody's been using, in which people question how successful they are for everybody. So,
and I think there should be more crossover with that stuff. I mean, I think we're looking into this, and other communities are looking into similar things. And I don't know. I think that,
but I also think things like dance movement can give you a lot of release and happiness, and maybe sometimes it's just being in a community, not being alone, or like this is kind of dance is our addiction as well, but that's maybe the positive addiction.
Right.
Or we deal with, I don't know, I do qigong, and also this helped me a lot with dealing with other kind of demonic things or thoughts I have in my life, to see things from a different perspective. So I also, and I think with this piece, yes, we tap and we present this through movement. Yeah, because we go into emotional states where I was asking dancers through improvisation, and not just to present, but maybe just even go with memories back to the past, and then, or exploring positive, negative things in space, or hidden energy, things like that.
All right, very interesting. Well, we have another clip, and maybe we'll go to the next clip and see that, and then we'll come back and tell people where they can see this show and get more information about it. So let's go right to that. All right, very good. Thank you so much. Patricia Noworol and Troy Ogilvie are here with us, and you saw Troy right there. Quick change, Troy. Very good. Sorry, the fastest change I ever saw. And so, again, very interesting. Replacement place. When, again, I know some of the information was already broadcast, but tell us when we can see that, how we can find more information about it.
Yes, it premieres in New York Live Arts on April 30th and runs through May 2nd. 7:30 shows, and on Saturday we have 2 shows, 2 p.m. and 7:30. And information can be found on pndance.com.
Right, and where is it located? I think the address is here, 219 West 19th Street. 219 West 19th Street, and it says take the L train. The 14th Street train?
Yes.
The L train. And it's what avenue? I'm not sure what avenue that is. But
it's located right on 8th Avenue, between 8th and 7th.
Between 8th and 7th. Okay, good. And people can get more information at newyorklivearts.org. All right, great.
Yes.
So we've been having an interesting discussion about exactly what is we're going to be seeing. Tell us a little bit about it, what we'll be seeing. What is the actual form that we'll be seeing when we're there at the show?
We will be seeing 4 performers on stage, 3 dancers. They have diverse styles. Troy Ogilvie, Nick Bruder, and Aaron Jones, who has actually, he's an urban dancer. He does animalistic flex dancing style. And
he's
Chris
one of the originators of
yes.
flex dancing.
And Chris Lancaster, who is playing a cello and performing with us on stage. Set design is by Vida Ciccone, and she has very interesting design with lights, fluorescent lights, you call them?
Fluorescent,
yeah. Fluorescent. And the stage is pretty open, and because I like to deal a lot with like kind of the strike everything down especially for a performance like this, to see more going into the performer and seeing the emotion of the performer rather than overloading a production with like additional things like too much costuming or
the artifice of the wings, or kind of making it a proscenium space.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Very interesting. So. All right, great. And also the instrument, and I think we heard some of the cello, right? The low sort of bass. Is that like, so it's, tell us a little bit about the music and how it was composed and what the purpose of the music is.
Correct. So Chris is playing cello. He was trained classically cello, but he also composed, he works electro, with, how do you call that? Electronic sounds.
Electronics.
I mean, he's the things he makes that cello do or sound like. I mean, he uses the cello as a drum sometimes, and he's looping things constantly. Be like, oh, Chris, let's try this, and then we'll realize that he's just been looping the whole time and just playing on top of it. So he'll leave, and the music is still going.
Then he pitches a sound
so
with his voice.
Yeah. He has a whole setup. You can kind of see it on the postcard there. But
yeah, right. You can do. Yeah,
he's a one-man band.
See that. I don't know if you can zero in on that, but right there is all kinds of cool electronics that go along with the cello.
He's fantastic, and I believe how he composed music for, well, a lot of it's also based in a piece. I'm sorry if I'm overlapping.
Go ahead.
Through his improvisation, but because we've been talking about thoughts and past, and also people, how we relate to sentence. I mean, from Bach to pop song, Chris is kind of involving this into this musical elements. And one point we hear a melody that we are aware of, from a pop song, and then he goes into a different sound. So that's, I think, has to do. We also talk a lot about like consciousness, subconsciousness, so our memories and when things are coming from. So it's pretty open, actually.
All right,
yeah.
pretty interesting.
Yeah.
All right, we have one more clip. Let's watch that clip. We can come back and then we can give one more, tell people the information, and call it a night. Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Patricia Noworol, and I am a founder and artistic director of a dance company based in New York City called Patricia Noworol Dance Theater, PNDT. I would like to introduce you to our Kickstarter campaign. We are in the middle of creating an evening-length piece called Replacement Place that will premiere in New York Live Arts on April 30th and run through May 2nd. On board with us are these fantastic and extremely talented people: Nick Bruder, Troy Ogilvie, Aaron Jones, who are performing on stage, and Chris Lancaster, who is playing a cello, composing the music, and also writing text for the piece. As well as Eric Abbott Main is my artistic assistant, and costume and set design by Vita Sekun. With this Kickstarter campaign, we are looking to raise $5,000. A large portion of our process is done, and we have been taking care of most of the expenses like theater rental, rehearsal space rental, paying the artist fairly, marketing the show, administrative team. So basically with the $5,000 we are looking to finalize the project, put kind of like a strawberry on a cake and be ready to go. Any donation is truly appreciated, and most importantly, come to the show to see these fantastic people. I can wait to share this piece with you. Thank you so much for all your support and friendship. Thank you.
Great. All right. Beautiful.
We didn't expect that.
That's all right. That's all right.
That's
our
Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, Kickstarter's great, man. I love it. I love it. It's great. That's the way of the future. All right. So we got a minute left. Tell us a little bit more information about where people get more information and see the show that we just heard about and things like that.
To see the show, go to pndance.com. There is an info about where to buy tickets. It will premiere in New York Live Arts April 30th until May 2nd. 7:30 shows on Saturday, 2 p.m. show. Anything else? No.
Okay, so what would you like to tell people in the last half minute about everything that went into this show, and how do you feel about it?
It's so fun. It's going to be wild.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be super wild and yeah.
It's going to be physical and emotional.
It's going to be both.
Extremes,
adventure. Yes.
Physical and adventure.
Yes.
Great, and it's going to be animalistic.
Yes.
Right. These are the things I'm reading here. Very good. Sounds like it's going to be an exciting show. Dance is the thing. You saw that. This is the new art form of the 21st century. Check it out. All right, I put my support behind it. It's always so much fun to see a modern dance performance. It's so exciting, and as I said, it is the 21st. It's the 21st century. Check it out, and we'll see you next week.